Hello everyone, my name is Idiotic Synergy, and today we're going to talk about one of the most iconic tanks in all of Warhammer, the Baneblade. Now, I love the Baneblade to bits, and I generally do believe that is one of the most iconic tanks in Warhammer. It is easily in my top 5 tanks, though granted my number 1 spot of what I consider the best tank in Warhammer is the Deathstrike. Because I will fight you about this, the Deathstrike is just better. It is the best tank. It's shit on the tabletop, but I like it, it's enjoyable. But, regardless of that, I like the Baneblade, and I think I know why it is so iconic and why so many people love this tank. It is because it is incredibly customizable, and it even ties in with gameplay. Let me explain what I mean. So, when I say customizable, I mean it fits with every single guard regiment on the tabletop. I've never seen an out-of-place Baneblade before. It is amazing when I see a Baneblade on the tabletop, and people run it with Catchins or Mordian Iron Guard, which is a project I want to do one day, or with Cadians, or even Deathcore Kriegs, Armageddon Steel Legion. The list there is endless, or even like homebrew regiments. It never feels out of place because the Baneblade is just a giant fuck off tank. But this is where I think the Baneblade is more customizable than the Leman Russ. The Baneblade is a Lord of War. For those of you that don't play the tabletop and know what a Lord of War is, a Lord of War is where you get given your Titanic units. It's where all the Titanic units are located. Which means it is possible to set up something called a heavy auxiliary super detachment where you can just bring the one Baneblade into any Imperial army. So this means you can really go to town with customization. You're not just limited to guard. You can put it with Space Marines and have it being commandeered by scouts, and that would make sense. You can have it being commandeered by Sisters of Battle. That would make sense. You can have it even being commandeered. You can even make a tech priest. I've never taken a photo of it, but I should. But there was a guy in my local friendly game shop who brought in a Baneblade, but it was for the tech priest, for like the Admech, and it was just like with weird servo skulls all over it, and like weird like mechadendrite stuff, and it had like an active tech priest welding stuff on it. It looked really cool. I never got a photo of it, but I really should. It looked really cool, and it fits. It fits, but not only that, not only does it just fit with the Imperium and that's it, it fits with Chaos. If you want to run Traitor Guard, you can. You can use a giant fuck-off Baneblade if you want. I think there is a Chaos variant, maybe I'm wrong, but if not, then just make it a Chaos one and run it as regular Guard. It doesn't matter. As long as the opponent isn't being a dick about things, it would fit. And it even goes beyond just Chaos and Imperium, because you can run it as orcs, as orcs. Like, you can, there used to be a unit called a looted wagon, or something, where it was just a tank, like a normal Imperial tank, that orcs would just nick stuff. But you can easily kit bash one so it has like a bunch of orcs on it, and it's all orky and rusted and weird and wonderful. I don't think there is another tank, maybe the Leman Russ, that is that open to customization, but, ladies and gentlemen, it ties into gameplay. So, for example, I want it to be like an infantry killer. Well, you can. You can give the Baneblade something called, hang on, I've got it written here, the Vulcan Mega Bolter, which is a heavy 20 gun, strength 6, AP -2, damage 2. Not only can you do that, you can do like a bunch of weird things, make it a tank ace, but as well as putting like basically a giant minigun on it, you can take up to 4 sponsons. And each sponson is equipped with a las cannon and either a twin heavy bolter or a twin flamer. So, if you put twin heavy bolters on a Stormlord tank, that's a lot of shots. You are going to kill infantry really well. Like, amazingly well. But, I hear you say, what if I want my tank to be more focused on killing other tanks? Well, there is a unit. Now, where is it? There is a unit. No, it's not the Hellhammer Cannon, though it is quite good. Hellhammer Cannon is something else entirely. Ah, here it is, the Bane Sword. Now, the Bane Sword is probably the best anti-tank variant here, in my opinion. The Quake Cannon is heavy 2d6, but each shot is strength 14, AP -4, damage d6. Now you probably think, oh, that's not a lot. But when rolling for this weapon's damage, treat any rolls of 1 and 2 as 3s instead. So minimum 3 damage, maximum 6 damage per shot. And again, you can take 4 sponsons with las cannons, with heavy bolters and flamers. But it gets even better, because the Bane Hammer is my favourite variant. It is probably one of the best variants of all the Baneblade variants. And 2 things that annoy me about the Baneblade. The one thing I want to get after I mention this gun, that is the names. It is incredibly hard to keep track of what's what. But this cannon, I think, is my favourite. The Tremor Cannon is heavy 3d6 shots, so 3 regular dice, strength 8, AP -2, damage 3. Now that doesn't sound as impressive as the other, I know, but why I like this tank more is because of the rule it has. If a unit is hit by a weapon, not hit and wounded, just hit by this weapon, in their following movement phase, they must halve their move characteristic and cannot advance. Basically, it's designed to shut down really fast units, like units that can probably turn one charger. It is amazing. I cannot stress enough how much I like this tank. But one thing that kills this tank for me is the lack of invuln saves. I love it, the Baneblade, the Bane Hammer. In fact, let me go through the names quickly. The Baneblade, Bane Hammer, Bane Sword, Doom Hammer, Hell Hammer, Shadow Sword, Stormlord, and Storm Sword. Yeah, I have problems with the names, but the one thing so the names I struggle with, but the other reason why this tank needs a slight buff is the lack of invuln saves. It's got 26 wounds, toughness 8, but it needs an invuln save. Or the save needs to go down to 2. Because it's on a 3-up save, meaning anything with AP -3 hits the tank, you're saving on 6s. And anything with AP -4 just goes straight through. Yes, you've got toughness 8, but you need an invuln save. Other Titanic units have an invuln save, but that's just my opinion. And there are plenty of ways to buff it even further. You can make it into a tank ace, and you can put like a tank detachment. You can bring along a tank detachment with this, with your tank commander, and have just an all-tank army. Yeah, the Baneblade. I just love this unit. It is incredibly customizable. It is fantastic. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say, is that the Baneblade, for me personally, is one of the most iconic tanks. It is amazingly customizable. It is amazingly put together. It's plastic, not Forge World, so you don't have to deal with resin. And yes, if I was running a guard army, I would happily use a Baneblade. Well, maybe not the actual Baneblade itself, but turn it into a Bane Sword for the Quake Cannon. I like the Quake Cannon a lot. Or I would turn it into a Bane Hammer. That is all, folks. Or if I wanted to kill infantry and just be just be annoying, I would turn it into a Stormlord. The customization is there. You can do whatever you want with it. Also, I just need to say, before I forget, this is a transport vehicle as well. Meaning you can take up to 40 Astra Militarum infantry models. And Ogren takes the space of 3 other models. Meaning you can just load this bad boy with Ogrens. And part of me wants to do that. Start an Imperial Guard army with just a bunch of Ogrens and tanks, and just have them all crammed into like a Baneblade. That would be cool. Anyway, I've been Idiotic Synergy. I've been rambling enough. My apologies if I annoyed you. Please like and subscribe. And if you want me to do more, let me know.
It is the Baneblade!